because you've got that experience in both the sports side and within a corporate context as well, and other performance sort of driven industries, can you maybe give a bit of insight or guidance towards the fact that as an athlete retires, if they're looking to go into a new career, I think sometimes there's this feeling that they're not fulfilled the way that they were out of sport. They're not getting the team environment that they were loved and they were thriving in, or that performance driven, playing under pressure, competition, grit, resilience. They're not getting their cup filled afterwards, or they're finding it very challenging to cope because they're not getting that same type of structure. How can you encourage them to find that maybe in a new career, and learn how to spot that there are a lot of similarities, or how can they fill that cup in other aspects of their life outside of sport?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I would highly recommend the book by Sebastian Younger called Tribe. Tribe gets at the essence of this, and the connection and the camaraderie that a lot of athletes feel being a part of teams. But I think it's an idea that spans athletics. Teams are not just a sports thing, right? Your family is a team. The family that you're part of, your friend group is a team. The people that you work with and for in a corporate environment can be a team. They don't have to be, but they can be a team. And I think when companies and organizations are run well, they embrace the concept of team, because what that does is it creates an environment where people are working with and for each other, compared to having an organization of individuals that people are either incentivized or compensated based on individual performance over team performance. And so organizations, sports teams get it right more often than not, because they understand that their success is based on the team performing well. A lot of organizations and companies still celebrate individual performance and discount the importance of the team dynamic. You know, again, to go back to improvisation, in improv there is a mantra, and this is one of the chapters in my book. But the mantra is, when I step on stage, my goal is to make my teammate look brilliant. So, Elle, if you and I were doing a scene together, my goal is to make you look good. And what is your goal?
Make you look good.
To make me look good, right? So now you and I, we have no idea what's going to happen in that scene, but you know that I'm out there to have your back and try to make you look good. I know that you're trying to make me look good. So I'm focused on your needs. You're focused on my needs. We're totally out there just collaborating, engaged with one another, trying to make each other look good. And that's what great athletes do. That's what great teams do. They try to make each other look good. I know where you want the ball. I know your strengths. I know your weaknesses. And so I've got your back. I'm thinking of you. You're thinking of me. That's what great teams do. That's what great sports teams do.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. All that really is a great relationship. What are great, healthy relationships? Well, the reason we have healthy relationships is because we are in a relationship with someone who cares about us and wants to make us look and feel good. And we're trying to do the same thing for them. That's what hopefully a spouse does. And that's what great friends do. You can trust that person. They care about your needs and they want to make you look good and feel good. Well, that there is the basis for any great team and any great organization. So if I'm an athlete, I could be an athlete that is on a team and I could care less about my teammates and I could still be a high performer, but so there's no guarantee that being a part of a team means that I'm going to have those bonds. But for the athlete who is thinking about how am I going to have that same sense of competitive juice and feeling like a part of a team, and it's all I would say to them is it is not that is not owned only by sports. Any great quote unquote team out there or organization needs those components. So I would say if you're an athlete, go into those environments and help create that environment, right? Create a healthy competitive environment based on everyone pushing each other and everyone having each other's back and everyone sacrificing for one another. That's what great organizations do. And so it doesn't have to end when sports ends. And I think there are environments out there, that are more conducive for that. So if you're an athlete who's looking for that, it just make sure that you're going into an environment or a company that is conducive for that. You'll know right away if it's not, and then I would encourage you to keep finding one, to keep going until you find one. But
Yeah.
and that same passion, the same drive an athlete has to be successful requires discipline, it requires hard work, and it requires resilience. It's no different going into the corporate space. It's the training ground just might look a little different.
Hmm. Hmm. I was talking to somebody the other day. I can't remember who it was, but we were talking about leadership. Oh, it was somebody who they're a sales director and they were sort of
Yeah.
a captain in sport, and they said that their experience in sport, leadership wise, was absolutely fantastic because they had so many different coaches with so many different leadership styles.
Yeah.
And they said that now they're in the corporate world, that's almost something that they really bring as a strength, because sometimes that's lacking, is there not a lot of exposure to different types of leadership styles. And the fact that this person had experienced both good and bad, they could take that and try and pull those all together to lead their team the best way they thought possible. And they just said that they almost felt like business was sometimes behind the curve in that regard. Whereas
Yeah.
sport, you've got all these different leadership styles all the time, and you're getting direct access to these people. And that it was just fantastic to go from one environment to the other and be able to bring that in as kind of a distinguishing trait and skill set.
Absolutely. I think if you really look at, we live in a sports crazed society, especially with youth sports, where the focus becomes on either college scholarships or becoming a professional athlete. And it like literally you discount the 99.9% of athletes that aren't going to do either, play at the collegiate level or play as a professional. And you're like, well, what's this experience for if my child's not going to get a scholarship? You're like, the benefit of sport, which is your child is going to learn how to work hard. They're going to learn how to work with others. They're going to learn how to take criticism. They're going to learn how to be resilient, to work past their comfort zone, to
Mm-hmm.
trust themselves, to try like every positive thing that sports essentially should be magnifying. You take that skill set and you take that into the real world, and that's why I think so many athletes who are college athletes go on and do well in the professional work world is, and I think the NCAA even has been using this message for years, which is, only a few percent of college athletes will be professionals, but those college athletes go on to become professionals in the work world, and they're successful because, to your point, they have been developing these skill sets as athletes to be able to take criticism from numerous adults and then process it and become better, to know how to deal with pressure, to know how to deal with adversity, to know how to manage your time and get over hurdles and obstacles. Is sports is as such is the best teacher for those skills.